made it this session, which is not unusual. And I would caution everybody to turn off their cell phones and the rules of decorum. Everybody is going to get We'll skip this.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Okay, start out with 165,000.
Oh, no, it'll get worse as I get through this.
I'm under one.
Okay, am I ready to go, Mayor?
Yeah, we're here on the floor.
Okay, before we get going, okay, just a couple highlights. Last year's budget was, in the general fund, was $1,986,730. So current, that was our current general fund. The supplemental budget, once we revise everything, your general fund is going to be $3,009,347. And as we go through this, you will see what happens. Some of it's going to be fund changes, change from one location to another, those kind of things. So that's the key there. Budget summary, general fund, $3 million and some change. Street fund, $727,262. Emergency services fund, $986,831. EMS equipment reserve, you will see that as a new fund, or that's going to be for the donor money.
Which sheet are you reading off
You don't have it.
of? Well, no one I couldn't find.
You don't have
We're
it.
all scrambling to find those figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I haven't given you this is it could change by $1,000 or $2,000 once I go through this.
Okay.
911 fund was closed out. As we go through this, you'll see that because we had to suck it up in the.
Oh, we did.
Oh, we didn't.
I told you.
And then fourth paramedic, that'll be a new fund. Okay, so those will be reserve funds, dedicated money there. Wood stove replacement fund, about $9K. Agency fund at $97,240. But what we're going to be asking you is to move that. Water bond fund, $120,000. Wastewater, $104,000. Fire station bond fund, $84,530. Unemployment fund was closed out. Water fund, $1,102,309. Wastewater fund, $535,322. Stormwater fund, $38,795. So you're going from a budget of about $5 million to a budget of $7,064,889. Okay, so big jump. Okay, what I have on the screen is the original FY 12-13 budget that was passed. And you should have a similar document in front of you there, okay? The document that you have is the supplemental budget that process that we're going to be going through. As you see on a top line on the screen, okay, there was no beginning fund balance. If you look on yours, it says you have a negative beginning fund balance of $165,629. Okay, so all these negative fund balances caught up. Okay, once you get all those audits done, you find out what you have and what you don't have. So we're at that point. Okay. So in the general fund, you're starting with that negative fund balance, as you can see on your sheet, $165,629. If you go down to franchise fees, okay, it says $144. If you look on your document, which will be line 16, you'll see that I increased that. What I'm basically trying to do is try to reduce the negative fund balance. That's what I'm working at. So what I did is I took that actually from the street fund, which we can use franchise fees. You can use them in general fund. It's not illegal to do that. But I was basically trying to reduce as much of the EMS negative fund balance and the general fund negative fund balance. So I pulled that money over and put it in the general fund. and you'll see that as we go through there. Library donations and sales, that'll be line 19, okay? That was 6,500. And you need to look at the last column on the right. So that's the adopted budget. It's the last column on the right. So we added 5,000 to that. That changed to 11,500. Line 33 on your form. Okay, line 33 you'll see up there. If you look on line 33 under adopted budget, you see no dollar amount there. So we had to add in the library budget. So, and on your document, you'll see that that's 485,301. Yes.
Where was the additional funding for the library donation and sales? Where did that come from? Where did you move it?
That was a resolution that we did July 2nd. I think that was money that was collected from,
Donations.
thank you, from the donations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a matching fund.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. It's going to be line. If you look at line 42, and it is not highlighted up there, but that's miscellaneous income. That was 30,000. If you look on your form, I'm pushing that up to 89,200, and what that includes is taking some money from the LGIP to help cover our additional audit. Okay, that since we paid for 2 audits and we budgeted for 1. And what else was it in? And to help cover some deficit in the park fund. Okay. And as you go through these documents, you'll see that we didn't, when we go through here, you'll see that we did not budget enough for the park fund. So. Any questions
So
on
the
that?
transfer from OIP, you did none?
No,
Because
when
there's a
we,
green, mine's marked in green, but there's nothing there.
so that is correct. We're not going to do that.
Line 43, is still have nothing.
That is correct. There was 45,000 in there, okay?
Okay.
Uh, Yeah, so, and,
This one right here, where it shows nothing, adopted by the 45.
That's
Also
correct.
a transfer from the agency fund? What was that on?
okay. As we go through, what I would recommend is just write your questions down. Because as we go through this budget, you will see each of those pages
Oh, okay.
come up, and then you'll be able to tie them in. Okay. So at this point, I'm just trying to show you some of the primary changes. All right, line 5, the salary was set at 70,000 for the city administrator. It's at 68,400. Okay, and what I did is we took some of that money and adjusted it within the budget, okay, to hit some areas that, again, we didn't budget in the beginning. So we took the $1,400 and used some of it over in the WAC also. So you'll see that as we go through where we make the increases. But that was a decrease. Line 10 was an increase, and all that was actually was a shift of money from, a shift of money from the city administrator expense. Okay, so I shifted some money around, basically from within the budget, as you'll see on your copy. City administrator's expense is at $1,300. So I'm not spending a lot of money, so I shifted it to where it needed to be on other spots, so. Insurance, that's line 20. That was 85,000, dropped it to 84. Again, I needed some money in some other spots, and if I recall, I moved that 1,000 again also to the west. Audited and accounting, you'll see that I increased that to about 76,000 from 30. Okay, that's basically to cover the audit and also summer's fees, and I had a little bit extra because there's a little more work to do. So that's why I increased that, and that's the money that I said that I wanted to take from the LGIP to do that. Okay. Now, if you'll look up on the sheet, you're not going to see a whole lot in regards to unemployment. The transfers, we made some format changes basically in the here that's on this one. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So you will see that transfer unemployment fund, okay, was 5150. What we budgeted was just for the admin section there. Actually, what we did is all of the unemployment funds are going through the admin section. So that's why you see this 74,771. Transfer emergency services. As you see up there, it was 300,000. And as we go through here, you'll see where I pulled that money from to build that up to 370,308. Okay, and the purpose of that, is to continue to chip away at their deficit. Okay, we started at pretty close to 300,000. At their deficit's down to 98. So headed the right way. Transfer to 911 fund. The 911 fund was 25,000 in the hole, so that's why we had to do that. Okay, we had to suck it up somewhere, and so basically, the deficit went to the general fund, the most flexible fund that we have. You'll see that contingency's gone. Part of the contingency was also used toward any auditing lines, so I moved that up also. LGIP and contingency to cover our auditing costs. All right. Okay. Oh yeah, let's back up. You'll see where it says ending fund balance for the general fund, and you'll see that there's a negative. If you see brackets on your copy there, if you see brackets are bad. So $291,200 is what the general fund is in the hole. Okay. All right. So, and that's yanking everything and anything that was a negative fund balance that didn't have a home, got yanked into the general fund. Okay. If it didn't have a home, we yanked it in so that we could account for all of it. And then, so are you leading into our options in regards to?
Not necessarily, probably just want to cover the rest of the budget at this point, but
Go ahead.
keep that number handy, because we're going to talk about the options of what to do with that potential ending fund deficit. So if the budget plays out for general fund exactly as this proposed supplemental budget is stating, then that would be your general fund deficit at the end of this.
All right. If you look at the sheet up on the screen, it says RTMP fund projects dash chamber. We all know that's incorrect. Okay. If you look at your new sheets, okay, that it should be under the transient income projects dash chambers, what it should be. So if you look at your document, Under the RTMP fund projects, it says 14,000, the document that you have in front of you. And transient income projects for the chamber is 14, and 16 is budgeted. The other 2 is in your community projects fund, so that's where the other 2,000 is at. So that's why you don't see this, the full 16 like you see it up there. Okay, police. You'll see that line, what happened was we reduced that line a little bit and we moved some of that money to the WAC. Okay, so the police department sacrificed a little bit of money to do some maintenance and those kind of things in the WAC. And then the other line, they gave up 1,000 was in their jail expense, so that reduced, as you'll look in your document, the 4400. And what you will see is that line that has nothing in it up on the screen. You look in your document, what we did is we moved the public safety assessment into the materials and services area out of the capital outlay area. So basically, it could be spent out of either one, but it's more appropriate to be in the M&S. Oh, the other thing is you'll see, as I explained about unemployment, that it's all coming out of admin, so you will see that in each of these budgets, the unemployment transfers have gone away in your document as you go through them.
How many patrol officers do you have?
Right now, you've got 3 patrol officers, and the chief. You only got 4 right now. Okay, but you should be running with 5. A sergeant, a chief, and 3 patrol officers. All right, where we at? Let's compare everything. So if you look at your line 17 in your document, total requirements, you'll see there's a reduction, actually, from 705,883 down to 692, 628. And that'll be under the police expenditures, that'd be the bottom line. Okay, Parks Project Fund. So basically, we move this in the general fund.
Right.
Go ahead and explain what we did there.
Okay, so in the past, the Parks Project Fund has been its own fund with this budget, and your original budget was a career as a separate fund. And the decision was made to pull that operating activity into the general fund as a separate department. So the budget documents are going to look a little confusing. You're going to have a budget document for the original fund that existed, but it's primarily just going to show the deficit from the previous year coming in, and then the general fund absorbing it. And then under general fund, the page that you're looking at now, this, actually that's not the page that you're looking at now. Oh yes, this original. So the page you're looking at now is the new department within the general fund. So you can see to the left, there's no prior activity, but you have a budget on the right that looks very similar to what you originally adopted. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Sort of.
What was it before it was Parks?
It was its own department, and the problem we were having there was trying to track the transfers to it. So because you get transfers from the gas tax, a couple, 2, 3 transfers that we were getting there, and trying to track them. So it's easier to track them if we've got it under the general fund. That was the primary reason.
Because its own fund, now it's part of the general fund.
Yeah, it's
It's
a-
more or less the
Used to
same.
the department.
It's also
Yeah, it's
Just
a,
for ease of, I just had nothing to do with anything other than just ease of.
of accounting. It also does, the auditor suggested that we tone down the number of the funds we have, we had too many, so this helps bring us into that compliance. And we did tell them that at the end of the year last year that we were gonna do that, and they were about to say that.
Well, that's what we're
okay. So, all right, let's see. So I'm gonna move on.
So did the parks go up? The budget requirement went up to 290 from 277. Is that right?
Correct. What I did is, that's the 13.6 that I was talking about that I'm gonna ask you to take from the LGIP to, yes, so that we can cover those expenses. That 6,000, 9,200. We had no money budgeted, and we had very low amounts, like 1,500, 200. Okay, so I got them up to realistic amounts so that it'll cover the cost. Okay. So the new library is quite obvious what we did. Is like I said, we had to bring in, this is the expenditure line for the library. As you can see, we had budgeted 6, okay, but we needed, the actual line was 485,301 for the library. So if you look at your document on line 26 and 27 is where your expenditures come out.
Quick question, is resources and expenditures, is this like running on the same timeline? It's happening at the same time? Or is like one's for then and one's for now?
What?
It's a picture of the fiscal year. So at the top of each budget in the resources, you see a fund balance or a deficit from the previous year coming into this bucket, right? And then you see resources coming in for this fiscal year, and you see your expenditures coming out for that fiscal year. And then at the bottom, what falls out is either a balance or a deficit. And if it's a balance, then you throw it in the contingency line. So in some of these budgets, you'll see a contingency line. And if it's a deficit, then you budget it as an unappropriated ending fund balance and then try to address it from there. So the general fund is a little tricky because you see it on different pages. So the general fund, you have a page for all of your revenues all in one place. And then you have a page for your admin department, and you have a page for your police department, and a page for the library. So that document looks a little different.
With that 290,000 at the bottom, that is for, that's not for.
It's the general fund specific to this department. So it is the general fund. And that summary that we did might be helpful to provide them at some point because it pulls the general fund together. We can pull a summary for you that shows the general fund as one bucket. So it is hard to understand with all